Hey there, and welcome to Shift Happens with Shay. I'm Shay, your host and licensed marriage and family therapist. This podcast is where we dive into all the shift life throws our way, whether it's relationships, mental health, personal growth, or just figuring out this crazy journey of adulting. Here, we're all about honest conversation, real stories, and a whole lot of laughs as we tackle life's challenges together. This is your space to grow, explore, and feel seen. So grab a cozy spot, maybe a cup of coffee or wine, and let's get ready to shift through it all. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, no matter what life brings us, we're in this together. Welcome back, everybody. Are you ready for another session with your girl, Shay? Because I'm ready to sip and shift with you. So if you're driving, I guess sip that lovely Stanley Cup you got. If you're at home or just in a place where you're sitting down listening, y'all, let's go ahead and get into session. Let's get cozy with each other, checking in. How are you guys doing? I hope the past 2 weeks have been wonderful. I hope they haven't been too eventful. And if it has, hopefully in a positive light. We are now in the new year. Last podcast we were in the new year. But we're in a new year. We're now like 2-3 weeks into 2025. I hope you guys have been able to start your goalposts, vision boards, Pinterest, and kind of, get into it. I hope for some of my RPPs, my recovering people pleasers, I hope on your goal for 2025 that boundaries are on there, which is what we're doing today. We're talking about the power of no. Yes, the power of saying no. So, have you guys ever felt overwhelmed because you just couldn't say no? Well, I hope not. But if so, some of us have all had those kind of moments. If we have, then today's the perfect episode for you. This is the perfect session because we're going to dive into why this is powerful, being able to say no. We're gonna dive into why it's so hard and, how it can transform your life. I often actually have not really had an issue saying no. And I'd say that in kind of my day-to-day life. Maybe in relationships, I can be very appeasing, agreeable, as people like to use that word. So yeah, like in relationships, you could be very agreeable. So sometimes it's hard to say no because you're afraid of shame or rejection or abandonment. Maybe also in the workplace, I find it that saying no angers a lot of people. It can be very uncomfortable and you could feel like you're a target. I would say, I guess, for me, saying no is just so powerful now. It's just second nature. I'm off rip going to tell you no if I'm not comfortable with something. But I think I've always kind of just been this way, to be quite honest. I've never been really go with everybody's flow. Yes, we all have peer pressure per se, but I don't feel like I've ever been peer pressured by my friends or anybody to do things, or that no wasn't really respected in, of course, consensual settings. Yeah, so maybe in relationships, definitely being more agreeable, saying yes, so sure, I want to eat there, or okay, sure, we could go see that movie, or yeah, sure, not that I had anything else planned to do for myself today, but yeah, we could do everything you want to do. Being very agreeable, that's not having any boundaries in itself too. Though it can sound like, oh, they're being so nice, they love to do what I do. No, actually, you're not even considering their options, their opinions. You're not even paying attention to their tone and how they are actually responding. You just hear a yes and you're running with it. And for the people who are so used to saying yes or hesitant to say no, say no. It's okay. It is A-okay. So like I mentioned, we're going to get into why it's hard for women to say no, how saying no is the key to setting healthy boundaries, and practical tips for embracing the power of no in everyday life. So, of course, being a woman, there's always societal pressures. There is always some type of requirement, criteria for us for why it's not right. You shouldn't say no because Why would you say no to your children? Why should you say no to your partner? Why would you say no to your boss? You're meant to be giving. You're meant to be caring. And because we have these perceptions, some unrealistic expectations on top of that, but these perceptions that of how women are supposed to be. We're supposed to cater, insert Destiny Child, cater to you. You know, we've been raised and conditioned, whether that's through music, shows, you're always seeing a doting girlfriend, wife, however they may be. And they are most of the time people pleasing. Because why? What is a woman's worst fear? Oh my God, a woman's worst fear is being alone. What? We could never fathom such a thing. At least the world would have us think that way. So that fear of loneliness is real though. You know, we talked about it in our previous sessions where loneliness, it is kind of fearful. It is sad, but you know what? There's a difference between enjoying your presence, you know, being alone and being lonely. Those are two different things. That loneliness is emptiness. Whereas being alone and enjoying my own company, it's not actually being alone. It's not being lonely is what I mean. You're not feeling empty. You're not feeling that life is purposeless. You're not feeling this darkness, this unending, like never ending feeling of that I don't matter or that I need somebody's attention in order to validate my purpose and presence in this world. So if that is you, I can understand the function of why you never say no. But as you continue to always say yes to other people, your fear of rejection continues to take power over you. Your people pleasing continues to tell you that you are not important, that other people's needs are more important than yours. Your guilt will continue to fester. Also, for those of us who are on the cusp of getting used to saying no or starting, this is why it's also hard to kind of stick with it because people perceive you as being selfish or unkind. So me incorporating my boundaries, which is an act of self-love, means I'm selfish. Some people will, because those people who are used to you always saying yes and taking advantage of you do not like to see you standing up for yourself. Boundaries for them could be a rejection or it can be a hurt to their ego that they no longer have a sense of power over you. More innocently, though, some people are just not used to hearing you say no and advocating for yourself. So they do take it personal. And as I mentioned, homeostasis with family in the last session, same thing here. People who are used to you saying yes and being a yes man all the time are going to push back. They are going to be like, oh my God, you're being so selfish. You're being unreasonable. Why are you being so mean? And some of this may hurt because you're hearing it from loved ones. And you yourself don't want to be perceived as a mean or selfish person. But it's okay. It's okay because those that mind don't matter. And those that matter don't mind. Why is it a problem that you want to be selfish for yourself for the first time and do things for yourself? If anything, you're educating these people on how to treat you moving forward. And also, as we continue people pleasing, like these tendencies, they lead to burnout. You mask so much. There's so much you are taking on your plate, on your heart, at home, as you think about all the things you want to do. And you think about a mom who signs up for every single event that's on the calendar because the mean PSA moms are just like, well, you know, Kaylee, she could do this. Kaylee, can you go help us with that? Oh, and how about this? Oh, Bridget was supposed to pick that up, but can you pick that up at 4:30? Oh, but, you know, I already have things to do with Tanya, like at 4 o'clock. I guess I don't know who else will be doing it because the event is just, I guess we'll just have to bear without it. And then it's, don't worry, I can do it. No worries. I'll go ahead knowing that you don't have the time. You haven't eaten probably. That's a burnout. That also can lead to resentment. And also for your loved ones, it hurts to watch you go through that. It hurts to see our loved ones taken advantage that way. So let's take a moment to pause real quick because we talked a little bit about why this is hard, some pressures that we have and troubles of saying no. When was the last time you said yes to something you didn't want to do? How did it make you feel? Just a question. I will post this on the Instagram as well because I would love to see some interactions. Thank you to those who did interact with me in the last session about thinking about a relationship, that was really hard for you. And what did you learn from it? Some of you have really, reached out to me, and I got some insight on your personal lives, and thank you for being vulnerable with me. And again, thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable with you in that previous one. But yeah, focusing back on this question for this session, when was the last time you said yes to something you didn't want to do? And how did it make you feel? Typically, when we say yes to something that we're resistant to, adverse to, some of us feel icky. We feel pretty gross. We feel like there's a pit in our stomach. We feel dread. It's an awful feeling, to be quite honest, when you go against yourself and what you truly want for you and what's best for you. It doesn't feel good because you feel out of alignment with yourself. Remember when we talked about, that disconnection? When you keep saying yes to other people is another thread you are cutting with yourself. And frankly, that's not fair to you. So it is important to say no. It's important to reclaim your time and your energy. Saying no helps you create spaces for your priorities, for things that are actually important to you, to things you want to get done, your goals. Sometimes your goals are not going to fit for somebody else's vision, and that's okay. They're not meant to. They're meant to fit your visions. They're for you to help your livelihood become more abundant, limitless. Your priorities are for you, your self-care, your personal growth. Reclaim your time. Time is literally the only currency that's not refundable. You can get money back, but you never can get your time or energy back. Granted, energy is always, being exchanged, never destroyed. But you know what I'm saying. Reclaim your time. Your time is not refundable. Be intentional with it. You're allowed to take space for yourself. You're allowed to pamper yourself. You're allowed to engage and invest your time in skills that you want for yourself, or vacations you want for yourself, retreats you want for yourself, fitness goals, all of that. Yeah, you'll have to say no to people sometimes because you don't have the time, or it does not align with what you're trying to do for yourself. It's important to reclaim your time and energy. And when you reclaim your time and energy, you are protecting your mental health. When you are feeling overwhelmed and you overcommit, feelings of resentment, stress, and burnout continue to fester. Remember I mentioned that. Resentment. You are going to start feeling bitter and upset, frustrated, annoyed, irritable, vulnerable, victimized. All of these kind of nasty feelings. Well, no feeling is kind of, I guess nasty, but there's no such thing as a bad feelings. These are your yellow lights, possibly some of you guys, your red lights. And when I think of emotions, when they're like this, your green lights are the emotions that are like, yeah, let's go do this. Your yellow lights are kind of let's slow down kind of emotions. And then your red lights are stop, pause, think. What are we about to do? What are we about to say? What is causing this feeling? Because when I get to this feeling, XYZ behavior comes out of me, and I don't want that. So think about that. You overcommit those feelings. Like I mentioned, resentment being a top one. It's hard. It actually makes it harder for you to be around these people because the more and more you don't speak for yourself, the more you suppress, the more angry you get. And it starts to show in other ways. You might become a little bit more nasty. You might actually become physically sick. It will manifest in different ways and show. Burnout, then you don't even have it in you to continue on, but you're trying to get out of bed. And then you're made to feel guilty because you got sick from overcommitting and didn't get any rest. And everybody's like, oh my God, you're letting us down. And now you feel guilty. And now you feel stressed because you can't be there for an event. Protect your mental health. It's very important. When we learn to say no, not only are we protecting our mental health, but you actually are strengthening your relationships. Crazy. What do you mean, Shay? I'm afraid that if I say no, I'm going to lose the person. I'm afraid they're going to get angry at me. Wait. But boundaries create healthier and more authentic relationships. Do you know the more you mask, the more you are taking away opportunities for that person to get to know who you truly are, get to know what matters to you, gets to know what you stand for. Why rob them of that opportunity and yourself of that opportunity? And I get it, fear of losing somebody, but if they can't respect who you are, why would we want that person in our life? You need people in your life that are going to respect you for who you truly are. That's going to uplift you. That's going to hold you accountable, of course. Those are the people you want to be around. But boundaries foster better relationships because this is how we teach others how to treat us. When you tell me your green, red, yellow lights, I know what is the danger zone in our relationship. I know what is highly offensive. I know not to go below the belt in our arguments because certain things are they're just what we shouldn't do. These are certain limits we shouldn't engage in with our best friends. Or people in general. I mean, with my best friend, my Audie, I know certain things. And of course, we share a lot with each other. I mean, over 10 years of friendship. I mean, you would think so, right? But what I'm saying is I know things about her that maybe other people don't. And I know anytime that we have argued or whatnot, yes, could I be very petty and aggressive and use some of those things, which is technically called unfair fighting, guys. Those cross boundaries because she's already told me not to throw things in her face, or vulnerability is hard for her, or that, it's taken a lot to even get to this point to even speak about whatever, X, Y, and Z. So it's actually a betrayal. And I wouldn't know those things are betrayals if we hadn't spoken about it or if she didn't set her boundaries with me. Now that I know her boundaries, I know how to act accordingly. I know how to communicate more effectively with her. I know, pretty much how our friendship dynamic continues to be as wonderful and happy as it is. And we are able to be our most authentic selves with each other. It is important. And it strengthens our relationship. Like I said, over 10 years. Crazy. But yeah, when you say no, you're saying yes to what truly matters. Remember that. When you say no, you're saying yes to what truly matters. Take some time with that. Okay? Gonna give you that time. Okay, time, let's give it. So how am I going to embrace this new superpower? Well, we have to start with reframing our mindset because people pleasing, you're taught that. I don't know if you may have had parents who were people pleasers and you saw them being super duper agreeable, never saying no, overcommitting themselves. Maybe, possibly. That sometimes could be for some of us. Or maybe you had emotionally immature parents who sought you for comfort instead of giving you the comfort as a child. So you were brought up to appease them, walk on eggshells, consider their needs more than your needs because that's how you were trained. You were raised that way. But we're going to take this time to reframe your mindset. Saying no doesn't make you selfish, ungrateful, unappreciative. It makes you intentional. Be intentional with your time and your energy. Your time is worthy. You are worth the time. Give it to yourself. Saying no is an act of self-respect. You are worthy of respect. So we have to get out of this. You're not selfish. You're not being a burden. You're not unappreciative. You are intentional. You are purposeful. You respect yourself. You're prioritizing your needs because they matter. And it is important for you to be connected with yourself and understand your own values and beliefs to be able to stand on a strong foundation of self. It's important. When it comes to you starting off saying no, I'm not telling you to, no. Okay. I'm not telling you to just get out here and do that, because for some people that's really uncomfortable. And I get that. Some of my clients in my session start to get nervous. They start playing with their hands, playing with their hair. My favorite is the nervous laughter. Yeah, say no. I get it. It's uncomfortable because you're not used to it. And because if you say no, sometimes we feel that it's going to put us in danger, i.e. us as women when we're around men. We rather take the bear than the man, because some of us have had experiences where we're in the club or just walking, wherever, just existing and being the wonderful beings we are, that when we say no, we get cursed out. We get called out of our names. We are fear that our safety is in jeopardy. I will say, as on the side, if that is the experience that you're having, I understand why saying no is a safety concern. Please take your safety into concern, especially if you're by yourself. Do what you feel is necessary to keep yourself safe. I understand that. I have experienced those things. I no longer go to certain areas anymore to pretty much lessen my chance of encountering people like that. I also don't travel by myself. Absolutely not. That's why I have my girlfriends with me. Yeah. Going back to our tips of saying no, you can use polite yet firm language. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't commit to this right now. That's polite. That's nice. That's not you coming after somebody's neck. People who really don't care and are not used to saying no or possibly entitled, they're going to feel offended regardless, no matter whatever. But that's polite and it's firm. It's assertive. I'm telling you my feelings. I appreciate you thinking of me. And I'm telling you the situation, but I can't commit to this right now. Assertive communication. We're always going to preach that here. Another one. I'd love to help, but I need to prioritize my other responsibilities. Some people might feel rejected. But then you guys can have an adult conversation and let them know this has nothing to do with you. I don't want you to feel rejected. I don't want you to feel that I'm abandoning you. I just am prioritizing myself right now because I really do have a lot on my plate. And when I feel more relieved, I will be able to help you when I have the time. I definitely have never left you high and dry before, so why would I do it now? I just have to prioritize myself. You have those conversations. But again, I'd love to help, but I need to prioritize my other responsibility. Polite and firm. I love an assertive queen. Buy time if you're unsure. The maybes, I hear you. Here you go. Let me think about it and get back to you. See, it's not exactly a flat out no if you're not comfortable with saying no all the way like that. You could buy yourself time because maybe it is something that you actually do need to think about. Maybe it's something you do need to kind of look at your calendar, your schedule, talk to your significant other, your family, whatnot, to really go through the options for yourself. That's okay. So you're fine to tell people, let me think about it and get back to you. And you want to practice self-awareness. Recognize when you feel obligated versus when you genuinely want to say yes. Because those feel different. When I genuinely say yes to something, I feel elated. I feel ecstatic. I just am bouncing off walls sometimes, depending on what we're doing. Because I really am interested in what we're doing or what we're about to do. I'm curious. Even if I'm not bouncing off walls, curiosity is a good thing for me too. That peak feeling. If you feel curious and you genuinely, go for it. I'm just saying, when you genuinely say yes or want to say yes, it is a completely freeing and liberating feeling. It does no longer feel like a chore that you have to be here. You want to be there. There's a difference. You don't have to mask or put on a face to perform for others. It's not performative. You truly want to be there. So recognize when you feel obligated. What does that feel like? What does obligation mean to me? What does it look like? Do I want to be a person who is always obligated? Is that the narrative I'm forming for myself? And if that is the narrative you are forming and you want to change it, then ask yourself, how can I be a more genuine person? How can I be more authentic to myself? And how can these boundaries get me here? How do my boundaries get me to being my most authentic self? Remember, your boundaries are an act of self-love, an act of self-respect. So think about and recognize the difference between feeling obligated versus when you genuinely want to say yes. Let's overcome the fear of saying no. I know we mentioned some of the things, such as what if they get upset? What if they get upset? Well, it's not about you. The reaction's more about them. Something in your no triggers an emotional response within them. You're not responsible for their feelings or having to change it. It's more about you. It's more about them more than it will ever be about you. Something about that, if they're upset that you told them, hey, let me think about it and get back to you, or I appreciate you thinking about me, but I can't commit to this right now, going back to that example, and they're just like, Shay, are you serious right now? Like, I really need you. Like, what are you talking about? You'll get back to me, or you can't commit. I mean, I can't commit right now. I don't have the time. And I do appreciate you. I always appreciate you thinking of me. I love being a part of your life. And I love that you want me to be a part of yours. It's just sometimes I need to take time for myself. So I'm not available at this moment. That is more about them than you. Because being upset, maybe they are starting to feel that feeling of rejection. Maybe they are feeling that they did something wrong, that they've become a burden to you. It is eliciting a trigger response of some type of abandonment for them. That's not your fault. That is their own reaction. And that's more about them and things that they have to seek within themselves. Because the real question they should be asking is, why am I reacting this way? Shay's always there for me. Honestly, 99% of the time, she always says yes. And I'm just like, girl, do you ever say no? So why is the one time that I always say that I want her to say no, she's saying no and I'm upset? Because I'm not used to her putting herself first. I'm not used to her telling me no. Her no hurts because she's the one person that I always felt I can count on no matter what, because she put me first more than she put herself first. You know, that's about them, not you. What if you're judged? Their opinions don't define your worth. When did others' opinions become more important than yours? I mean, I know it happened a long time ago, again, with people pleasing. But the fear of being judged, you're not meant to be everybody's cup of tea. Again, you're not meant to be everybody's cup of tea. And that's okay. We're not accessible to everybody, and we're not trying to be. We need to have these walls. There is a criteria to ride this ride. That is you. You are an experience. You are one of a kind. Everybody doesn't get to experience who you are. So if they judge you or have a negative opinion of you, that's them. They can keep that to themselves, because everybody's going to have a different version of you in their head. It's never all the same, like with everybody you meet in your life. You will continue to be judged. My pastor, bless his soul, he used to always say, if you don't have haters, you're not living life right. Because when you're a trailblazer and you're making your own path, there's going to be resistance. When you start putting you first and people ain't used to that, they are going to fight it. They resist change because they know they now have to figure out life without you being their main source of relief. Not anymore. They got to do it. So let them judge. If they judge, they're not for you. Their opinions do not define who you are as a person. Your values and beliefs do. The people who love you will be here for you. They will be curious about why you are changing or why you're starting to say no. They will understand. It's okay to have fear, but don't let it overcome you. Overcome it. Build confidence in your decision. Like I mentioned, it is important for you to say no. Boundaries are important because it highlights you trusting yourself. It's kind of when you think about it, do you trust yourself? Every time you say yes to somebody else, you're not trusting yourself that you'll be able to overcome if somebody does get upset. Overcome if somebody is judgmental. Trust yourself that you will be fine afterwards. Trust yourself that the decision you are making for yourself is the right decision for you. Trust yourself that even if it wasn't the right decision, that at least you took a chance on yourself and you are worth taking a chance. Prioritize yourself. It is so important that we build this trust with ourselves. It is so important that we take this time to reconnect with ourselves. Because when you're a yes man, you care more about other people's opinions because your opinion doesn't matter to you and you can't trust your decision making. That's not right. You deserve a chance. So take it. The more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes. It really does. Just like on most things, practice makes perfect. The more you practice it, the easier it will be. And I say that because, like I said, now I say that off rip. No, I don't feel like it. I'm really tired. I don't even make really excuses. I just don't feel like going out. I just want to be home in my bed. I'm not in the mood to socialize. I ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. I'm just tapped out. That's me prioritizing my needs. Because my mind is saying, girl, rest. You've done so much today. Take time for yourself. Plan some things. Me and my friends get it pretty much to this point that we got to plan get-togethers. We got to plan this out maybe sometimes a week in advance, maybe 2. And that's okay. Because a lot of things are happening in life and everything isn't about the other person. Like, you're not the main character in everybody's story. You're the main character in your story. Yeah. And so we have to be respectful, but prioritize your needs. The more you practice saying no, the easier it will become. I promise. It's okay. It's going to be all right. So with that being said, please think about putting yourself first. Please think about putting yourself first. Think about one area in your life where you need to start saying no. Is it at PSA meetings? Is it at your business? Is it job, friends, your relationship? Think about it. Think of one area in your life that no would be so appreciative in. And set a small goal. What's one thing you can say no to this week? And since this podcast, our sessions are bi-weekly sessions, think of 2 things, actually. What are 2 things, one for each week, that you can say no to? Try it out. And get back to me with those goals, too. I want to hear them. Because we are a community here. We are here to encourage one another. We are here to thrive through what we go through. So as you're going through this new lesson for yourself, you're going through this new thing, because boundaries are not for everybody. It's not just oh my God, it feels amazing at first. No, it feels scary. It feels uncomfortable. You can feel a tightness in yourself. And when you feel that, commit to your no. And when you're by yourself, breathe. Remember what we were talking about, the square breathing. How about using that? Or just take a deep breath, exhale, shake it out. Shake the nerves out. And remember why you even said that no. Because I'm putting me first. And I deserve to be put first. Okay? Awesome. Share those goals with me on Instagram. So, moving forward, as you continue with these boundaries, and we did mention resilience, get ready to be letting go. What? Yes. What resistance? Not everything is meant to stay in your life. Not every person is meant to stay in your life. We're going to dive into letting go of what no longer serves you. It no longer serves us, because we are moving into a new chapter. We are embodying the woman we are meant to be. We are now putting in steps. We're starting to define what she looks like. She's not a pushover. She's not an appeaser. She advocates for herself. She is strong in her opinions. She's intelligent. She's caring. She is nurturing. She is loving and she breathes life and she is full of abundance. And you can add other things to that. But not everything in your life currently is going to support that growth. So we're going to dive into letting go what no longer serves us. And that is the end of sessions. Do we have any concerns? And if we do, send me a message on Instagram at Shift Happens with Shay. I encourage you to share your thoughts about this episode on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn if you are in there, or even in your reviews. I'd appreciate that too. So subscribe so you are always alerted on the next session. We all need appointments to know where we got to go in for a little dose of Shay. And I really want to hear from you all. So please subscribe, leave a review, talk to me, engage with me on social media. Like on those question days, those prompt days, I would be so happy to hear from you. I love hearing my thoughts hearing your thoughts. I love hearing your stories, and I'm here to tell your story until you feel strong enough. Or if there's something you want to work on and you need some advice, that you'd want in a episode, let me know and I'll bring it to session and we'll talk about it. I'm all for it. I'm here to serve you guys. I want to help you in any capacity. So definitely share your thoughts with me over there on Instagram at Shift Happens with Shay. You can also go to my website at roadtosnatch.com. You can send me an email at shifthappenswithshay@gmail.com. Please send all your inquiries there if you are not on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you, or leave comments under the YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you are listening to me at. I would love to get in touch with all of you. So, yes, please. And also, besides the small goals that I told you for homework, tell me, and when you're reaching out to me, how has saying no helped you? I love to hear your stories. I want to hear that. I want to hear how saying no in these past 2 weeks, or even this starting week, how it is helping you, or how it's been nerve-wracking. Tell me all those feelings. I'm here for you. I want to support you. Yeah. So thank you for being here for our quick little lesson. So enjoy the rest of your day. Set an intention. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. You are about to rule the world. Have a beautiful week, my dears. Thank you for sitting and sipping with me, and thank you for coming to session and allowing me to be here with you and share this space again. All right. Love you guys. Remember, Instagram, Shift Happens with Shay. Leave a review, subscribe, share the podcast with a loved one or a friend who needs to hear it, or just anybody. I really adore you guys. Thank you. Mwah!